Hey traders, and welcome. My name is Josh, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can automate any trading strategy from a price chart. Before we begin, I've just got FXCM's disclosure up here, and we're going to go into how you can create a strategy or automate a strategy directly from a price chart by using a webhook. So let's get into it. I've got already here, I've got Tradingview open, and Tradingview is where we're going to set up these webhooks, and we're going to send the alert to Capitalise, and Capitalise is going to automate your trading via your FXCM account. So let's open up Tradingview rather first. And let's just talk about a webhook. So a webhook is basically an alert. You can set a condition on almost anything from horizontal lines to trend lines to strategies. You can even create your strategies in Pine script on the Pine editor here and set an alert and then automate your trading via Capitalise and FXCM. And the way we're going to set up an alert is really easy. We can set up an alert here at the top. You can set up an alert on the left-hand side here, just there, or you can just right-click on the page and add an alert that way. So let's get into it. Let's create our first alert. We'll use these horizontal lines for our first alert, and then we'll get into some strategies and what you can do on Capitalise. When selecting the assets on Tradingview, be sure to find FXCM. So if we're using BTC USD, you'll see there's a lot of sources here. And if you just scroll down a little bit, we'll see FXCM right here. So we want to use FXCM's data, and then we can go ahead and set the alert. It's really important that when setting an alert, the alert is based on the time frame on the chart. And you can see here we're using a 1-minute chart at the moment with these horizontal lines. So the first thing I'm going to do is just quickly give this a name. So I'll just call this buy open. Okay. And I'm just going to call this, let's see, buy close. So this is going to be for a buy strategy, and that's going to be the open line, and the red will be the close line. So let's go ahead and set up these alerts. Let's just make that a bit smaller. And here I'm already logged into Capitalise. I'm on the wizard, and I'm going to go ahead and create the strategy. So I'm going to go ahead and say buy 1,000 BTC USD if webhook. And then when you select webhook, you're going to get some important information that we need to use for the alert. So let's go ahead and set up the alert. So on these horizontal lines, I'm just going to right-click on them and just add an alert on the horizontal line. Here we can set our conditions. So we're talking about the price BTC USD. We're looking at crossing. It doesn't have to be, but in this case it is, and we're going to use the horizontal line. Then you can choose how frequent the alert should happen. I'm just going to go 1 per minute, so anytime it does happen. This is important when you're running strategies. It will trigger. Onto the alert actions, make sure webhook URL is ticked or selected, and copy the URL from the webhook into the space just below webhook URL. Mine was already there, but if it's not there, just copy straight in. Then I can just give this a name. I generally like to, so I know exactly which alerts are still active, or and so on. So I'll just call this by green line. And then all you'd have to do is take the message from the webhook on Capitalise and paste it into the message on the alert. And then our alert is set up. It's done. We're ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and click create. And I'm going to finish off the strategy with triggers. You can add as many conditions as you want. So if you want to use more webhooks, or you want to use other conditions within Capitalise, you can go ahead and add them in. For this first example, we'll just leave it at that, and I'm going to go ahead and click next. And here we're going to use the red line to close the position. So I'm going to go ahead and go close position if webhook. And we're going to need this information again. And to create the alert, I'm just going to right click on the red line and set up the alert. I'm going to keep the condition as is. I'm just going to change the option to once per minute. Remember, if the URL is not here, you want to select webhook URL and then input it there. And here, I'll just call this, what do we call the first one? I'll just call this cell red line. Let's go with that. And I'm going to go ahead and copy the message and paste it in. And then I'm going to go ahead and create the alert. Finish off the strategy with triggers. Just going to loop this strategy, and I'm going to go ahead and click next. Let's see. Oh, wait, I wanted to put, I wanted to actually put 1,000 USD worth, not 1,000 Bitcoin worth. Okay, this is actually important. So if you have to edit a strategy, the webhook message is going to change. So if we go by 1,000 USD worth of Bitcoin USD, if webhook triggers, now anytime you edit or select it, that message changes. So we just have to copy the new message, go to our alerts here, and just go to our buy green line. And I'm just going to change the message in here to the new one. I'm going to click save, and I'm going to go ahead and just go triggers. And let's just make sure that is the same. So I'm just going to go to the alert again. I'm just going to click on the red line, and I'm just going to paste it. Okay, it was the same, just to make sure. And our alerts are set. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this strategy off and simulate it. So anytime the price is going to cross the green line, we're going to get a trigger, and anytime it crosses the red line, it's going to trigger as well. So let's go ahead and make this trigger. I'm just going to move my green line up here. We're actually having quite a nice rise in the last couple of minutes of Bitcoin, just passing above 65. And there we are. The price crossed above the green line, and our strategy has triggered. So let's move the green line away. And to close this position, let's go ahead and close it. As soon as the price crosses above the red line, you're going to see this strategy here on the left-hand side. Trigger is closed, and there it did. So this is a great example of how webhooks or how TradingView alerts work. And remember, horizontal lines is very basic. We're going to set up some strategies with this as well. So you can see here the strategy is now waiting. We've had one hit on it. Let's say we want to use more than one webhook on it, or let's say we want to use one TradingView alert with more than one strategy. You can do that as well. So here we've got our buy BTC strategy. Let's set up a sell BTC strategy. So anytime the buy strategy closes, we want the sell strategy to start. That's really easy. Let's go ahead to create new strategy. And here I'm going to go sell 1,000 USD worth of BTC USD if webhook. And we're going to need this message. So what I'm going to do is open up my alerts, and I'm going to start the sell strategy with the sell line in this case. So I'm going to open up the alert. And there's a few things you need to add in here. So what I generally like to do is copy this message. Okay. And I'm going to paste it here. And what we need to do to the original message is just add an S after alert IDs and add a square bracket just before the inverted commas of the first ID. And we're going to go with a square bracket just before the last inverted commas of that ID. And then all we really need from here is the alert ID with the inverted commas in there. And I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go up to the original message. And after the inverted commas, when the ID is finished, I'm just going to put a comma, and then I'm going to paste that the second message there, and you can do a comma and add another one, so you can add as many webhooks as you want to one alert ID. And always remember just to exit, just to delete that what we had pasted, and I'm going to go ahead here and save. So our sell line is done, and I'm going to finish it off with triggers. I'm going to click next. And then for this example, we want to close with the green line. So I'm going to go close position if webhook triggers. Oh, sorry, if webhook, and we need that message. So I'm going to go ahead and open the green one. And everything's set. Again, I'm just going to copy the message. It's just the easiest way to do it. And then I'm going to add an S. Remember the square brackets there. And then all we need is the ID number with the inverted commas. So we just copy that. And I'm just going to add a comma, and we're going to paste it. And then remember to delete that afterwards. And then the alert is set up now for 2 webhooks. I'm going to click save, and I'm going to go triggers. And let's go ahead, let's put that into loop, and let's click next. And we will simulate. So here we have a buy strategy and a sell strategy, and I'm going to go ahead to the My Strategy page here. Remember, you can view all your strategies on the My Strategy page, and we're going to make these triggers. So every time the buy strategy closes, the sell strategy should open, and every time the sell strategy closes, the buy strategy should open. So here we have them here. And let's go ahead with these 2 and make them triggers. So let's start with the sell. So we'll move, this is the sell. Oops. We want these, there we are. So let's go ahead and make the sell strategy trigger. We're just going to want the price to cross the line there. And there we are. So you can see there, it just changed. The sell strategy is now working on the exit. Now, if we take the buy line, and let's actually just move the sell line way down. If we use the buy line, the sell strategy should close and the buy strategy should open, just like that. So this swap there, the buy strategy is now in, the sell strategy is now waiting for entry, and this can go on. So if we move the buy strategy again up there, you'll see that these 2 are going to change as soon as the price, there we are, changed. So the sell strategy went in, which closed the buy strategy, and so on. So that's an easy way to use one Tradingview alert with many webhooks. Great. So traders, let's get on and let's look at something practical and with regards to a strategy, running a strategy here. So one thing with webhooks is you can now use any indicator. Tradingview has many indicators. So for example, we could look at using a super trend. You could use these built-in ones, but some of these strategies here that you'll find, there are a lot of them, will actually give you the buy and sell signals. So I don't know, let's test that out. Let's also see that. What about that? Not sure. Okay, let's create a super trend indicator here. And let's just find which one we're going to use before we set this up. So let's just have a look here. And if we just do that, no, we want to use that one. Okay, so this is the one I'm not going to use. Great. So, and that's actually good on another asset. Let's look at euro dollar. And remember that when you're selecting, make sure to find FXCMs. There we are. And this super trend indicator will give you when to buy and when to sell. And all we need to really do is set up the alerts. So to set up the alerts, I'm just going to make that smaller. I'm going to get my strategy ready, and I'm actually going to do a buy and a sell with this both. So every time this indicator, or maybe we should actually look at perhaps like a 1 hour. Let's just look at a better time frame. Yeah, that may give us, you know, something better to work with. So anytime this indicator indicates for us to buy, we'll buy, and anytime to sell, we're going to go ahead and sell. So we're on dollars, so let's start our strategy off with buy, let's say, oh, let me get my syntax right there, buy 10,000 euro dollar if webhook triggers, and we're going to need this message and the URL. So let's go ahead and create our first one. And with a lot of these indicators, you could just pick buy and sell. So here on the condition, we don't want to talk about the price. We're not talking about the EMA. We're talking about this one here, the super trend. And here you can either go super trend buy, super trend direction sell, or super trend sell. You could also use others, but for this, we want the buy signal. We're going to go once per minute. And here I'm just going to call this super trend buy. And I'll just go 1 hour EUR USD. And I'm going to copy the message. My URL is already there, and I'm just going to paste it in here. And I'm going to go ahead and create it. And we're going to go triggers. And then I'm going to go ahead and click next. And then for this case, I'm going to want the sell strategy to be my close. So every time it gives me a sell signal, I want it to close the buy strategy. So from that case, I'm going to set up another alert. And this alert here, I'm going to use the same super trend. Only difference is I'm going to use super trend sell once per minute. My URL is there. I'm going to call this super trend sell 1 hour euro dollar. And let's get our strategy set up. So we could go close position if webhook, and we're going to need the message again. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it in, and we're ready to go with the sell strategy. Let's finish off our strategy with triggers, and we can go ahead and click next. And let's call this let's call this super trend by euro dollar, so we know what we're talking about. And we're going to go ahead and simulate the strategy. Oh, you know what? I hadn't put. Let me change that to loop, so it keeps looping. Very important. So anytime we get a signal, a buy signal, is going to open up the strategy, and then when it swaps to being a sell signal, it's going to close the strategy. And just like the last example, we can set up a sell strategy to get into the market anytime the buy strategy closes and the sell signal appears. So let's go ahead and set that one up as well. So with that, I'm going to start it off with, let's say, sell 10,000 euro dollar if webhook. And again, I'm going to open up my strategies here, and we're going to want the sell to open up this. And again, all we have to do is add in the message and just add in a few things. So remember to add in the S after alert ID, to put in your square bracket just before the first inverted commas and just after the last one. And then we'll just take this away and we'll copy this. And remember to separate your strategies with a comma. And we'll just paste that in. This is for our sell. Remember to delete this so it's not there. And we are ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and click save. And I'm going to finish off this strategy with triggers. And then here I'm going to close position if webhook triggers. And this is going to be the buy. So we're going to have a strategy constantly in the market with the euro dollar. Whether the super trend is telling us to sell or whether it's telling us to buy, we've got two strategies, both focused, one on the buy and one on the sell. And here I'm going to copy the message. I'm going to go to my buy strategy because that's what's going to close my sell, or my buy alert rather. That's what's going to close my sell strategy. And again, I'm just going to add this in. Just going to put an S there. We'll put a bracket, and remember bracket at the end. And all I'm going to do is just keep the inverted commas and the ID. And remember just to separate them with a comma and then just paste. And if you want more, you can just put a comma and paste, and so on. And I'm going to go ahead and just delete that. And we can go ahead and save. And then here we can go if it triggers. And then let's click next. Here I want to name it Super Trend Sell Euro USD. And let's go ahead and simulate. I'm going to want to actually have this on loop. And anytime now, when this strategy is when this strategy gives us the alert to buy, the strategy is going to buy. And anytime it gives us the alert to sell, it's going to close the buy strategy and open the sell strategy. And then when it gives us another alert to buy, it's going to close the sell strategy and enter with the buy strategy. So that's a great way for you to use. And there's a lot of strategies on here, a lot of indicators that you can use and that you can now, just automate directly from this price chart. If you want to use more than one webhook, you can as well. So if you're using perhaps super trend and you want to use, I don't know, DMI for some momentum, you can create an alert on this. And it's exactly the same. Create the alert and select DMI. What are you speaking of the DMI? Are you perhaps speaking of the DI plus crossing above, let's say, perhaps the DMI ADX? You can set that up, and you can put multiple webhooks into a strategy. You can use as many as you want. Also, let's leave this up here with Capitalise. You can also use conditions within Capitalise and webhooks. So we can say, for example, okay, let's say buy 10,000 euro dollar if, let's say, the current day open is above the previous day close. And oh, let me get my syntax right here. Where'd I go wrong? Oh, I should have gone Euro USD rather. Of Euro dollar is above, let's say, is above the previous day close of Euro dollar. And if, let's say, Euro dollar RSI is below, let's say a 14. Anytime you select a indicator, you can change the parameters on the top. So I'll just use a 14 1-hour close is below 50. And if webhook triggers. So we'll just use this one here with the ADX. I'm going to copy the message straight into here. I'll just use this as ADX. You don't have to name it, but I just prefer to. Euro USD 1 hour. Oh, it's actually DMI. Hey, DMI. Well, let's say DI plus above ADX. So I know exactly what I'm speaking about. And I can go ahead here and create, and we can finish off this strategy. Click next, and then you can close it again with the webhook, or you can close it with anything we have in Capitalise. So you can close position, let's say a profit, or let's go with if profit, let's say per unit of euro dollar is, I don't know, 30 pips, or if, let's say, loss per unit is 30 of euro USD is 30 pips. And you can go ahead and run the strategy. You can put as many conditions as you want in your strategies. Something else you can do as well on Tradingview is you can create your strategies in PineScript. You can add alerts into them as well. And you can automate that as well on Capitalise or through Capitalise onto your FXCM account. Guys, thank you so much for watching. For anyone that wants to see more information or wants to see some other stuff on webhooks or anything else you can do on Capitalise, please check out our YouTube channel. We have tons of content on here with different things you can do on Capitalise and with webhooks. And if you need some help while you're doing this, feel free to chat with us here on the in-app chats. From myself and the team here at Capitalise AI and FXCM, thanks so much for watching and have a great week ahead.